If you were part of the participants, raise up your hands. Okay, great. I heard some. I mean, I like it when I come in and I hear some interesting, you know, conversations going on. It sets the tone for my, my writing or my speaking. Let me say it that way. Do you know it's an amazing thing that you guys are doing here, MediVoice? I didn't have this opportunity while I was in school. It was strictly book, work, and visiting and all of those things. Chatting away in a hostel. We didn't even have phones then. We didn't have mobile phones then. And so we had to go all the way to Nitel to make phone calls to speak to our families at home. Yes, on Saturdays mostly, in the evenings. And so most of the time when I called my mom, she was usually away. And so she always missed my call most of the time. Anyway, thank you so much for having me. I am Marcelina Ijadunola. That's my name. Every other accolade is probably professional. And should I say my heartbeat is where my organization is, and that's my hobby, and that's the Sport Hub. A Sport Hub is mere hobby. And to, watch it evolve into what it is today is amazing. And because you all made it possible on campus here. And so this journey in writing is something that I've always wanted to be involved in. And so my writing evolved over time. And I'm at that stage where I'm going into the creative writing. And I see a lot of you who write, who engage in things. Name it. Whatever it is you call a hobby these days, it breaks bank. You can buy a car, buy a house, do all sorts of things from it. Okay? So, all right. Okay, so I get the message. Okay, so writing is that thing that you cannot be separated from if you are passionate and you have a desire to share your view, your story to the world, and to express it in a way that people will see it from your mind's eyes as a writer. I've just gotten to that creative stage of writing, and it's really exciting for me as I have set my writing goals. Initially, it was a professional academic writing for which, you have to write before you become a professor and all of that. And that takes away all the time with all that one has to do. And it's also very important also. Don't, let me say it's not. And so, my favorite poem, if I still have that opportunity to say it, or to read my poem, is, who can guess? The Guest House by Rumi. And then closely is Still Arise by, who said Maya Angelou first? Okay, you have a gift from us. So I'll be throwing in things like that in the course of this keynote address, and I'm going to make it as easy as possible. So the guest house, and I start. This being human is a guest house. Every morning, a new arrival, or joy, or depression, or meanness, some momentary awareness comes as an unexpected visitor. Welcome and entertain them all, even if they're a crowd of sorrows who violently sweep your house. empty of its furniture. Still, treat each guest honorably. He may be clearing you out for some new delights. The dark thoughts, the shame, the malice, meet them all at the door laughing and invite them in. Be grateful for whoever comes because each has been sent as a guide from beyond. That is this. It means a lot to me. Have you ever been in a place where you're unhappy, you're sad, all the things are happening, and you wish it was another day? And just let it. That's how being human is. We are all a guest house in this body. It's a guest house. And just let it in. But don't let them stay for too long. Because every emotion is a guest. Do you know? That's why we say, these two shall pass. It's a guest. Allow it for that moment, but don't let it fester. Because guests don't live in guest houses, do they? No, they don't. So that's one thing I have to say to you today. I would wish to read Still Arise, but I can't right now because time does not permit me to do that. So let me just dive straight into this keynote address of mine. When Amarachi, approached me and Efe Tobori, right? Efe Tobori. When they approached me, I said, what a wrong person to approach. I have a bookstore, yes. I sell other people's books. But not one of my books is in the Spur Hub. Why? Because I am a story yet unwritten. And I don't want to get someone to write my own story for me. Hello. Sorry, you will not be getting any, jobs from me, right? Not right now. Maybe later. And so my story, I'm just writing it. And so when I started this journey of being intentional about my writing and social media posts and many other things, people have always told me, you write well, you should write a love story, you should write something, just put it out there because you write so well. For the life of me, I just could not imagine me writing. But I only started a few weeks ago. And I'm doing it little by little. How do you say that in Spanish? Poco a poco. Exactly. That's how I'm doing it. And I'm doing it dear like that. And I'm enjoying it. With the time, the space, and the grace of God, I think I have a date for my launch. If you like to write, you are not here by accident. You are here by divine arrangement. And how do you start? You've charged yourself. Sometimes things happen, you're in a conference, and you're like, when I get back, I'm going to put my best at it. Right? Yeah, but sometimes you just let yourself down and it doesn't happen again, right? And you'll be like, there was a one time I wished I did this and wished I did that. But being here today, this season, and hearing inspiring stories, or getting honing your skills in writing with the right lingo, knowing that you have to develop your character and, come up with your storyboard or whatever. It's interesting, right? But I hope you know that nobody schooled the first writer. If you do not give anybody permission to judge your narrative, You will dive down into the writing thing and start to write. When you do it 15 minutes a day, in a year, how many minutes would that be? 15 times 365. Calculator, fastest. 15, oh. 5,000 divided by 60. Say that again. 91.25 hours, right? That you'd have put into it. Before you know it, you would have started by 15 minutes, but you just stay longer at it some days. You give it longer. Sometimes you don't even do it, but don't crucify yourself. You are yourself's accountability partner. So when I say, if you are here and you think, it was by chance, no, writing has already sought you. And you knew somewhere along the line that I needed to write. Being in the right space, having the right network, in the right community, right? And this was the opportunity we never had back in the days. Never had it back in the days. And so, I would like you to give MediVoice a round of applause for this. Yeah, so I want to talk about 4 things mainly, and I'll dive into those 4 things very briefly. Okay? Writing as a long life skill. How do you make writing a long life skill? Let me start with these quotes. If a story is in you, it has to what? It has to come out. This is by William Faulkner. And then one of my very good quotes by Maya Angelou on writing is that the idea is to write. Write it so that people hear it. And it slides through the brain and goes straight to the heart. That's it. And that's how writing is. And so, my key points. The power of writing in personal and professional growth. Building a career with writing as a core skill. The creative and therapeutic aspects of writing. Long-term applications of writing skills. That's stories of writers who have made an impact. You never know what impact your writing would, but don't start with that impact. Start with just that desire. You see, let me give you an example of a burning desire. A burning desire is that makes you get onto an island with a fleet. An island that you heard that the inhabitants, they conquer every intruder. They annihilate them. They just, liquidate them. Or whatever it is, the word I want to use. They just finish them. And then you decided you get on that island with your fleet. And what did you do? You burned your ship. You burned your ship. Yes, you burned your ship. You burnt all the ships, the fleet. And then you went full force to take charge of that island without thinking how will you get back or what happens. But the only thing that is in your mind is what? There's no return. So it's either a do or die. That is a burning desire. And that was what Napoleon Bonaparte did many, many years ago. And then guess what? Yeah, they conquered that island. They conquered that island. They had to build new ships to leave the place. Is that not an interesting example of a burning desire? And this is in the book Think and Grow Rich by Napoleon Hill. One of the best books in personal development that has ever been written. So don't you dare second guess yourself. You work on your subconscious mind and let that subconscious mind do the writing in your sleep. And when you wake up with beautiful ideas of brilliant things or what to write or how the twists and the turns of that story will be. That's what they call the writer's edge. It comes with a desire, a burning desire. Okay? And so, power of writing. I started with writing professionally, and now I'm going into writing personally. Let me correct a notion. I'm not saying I've never written before. I have journals. I have so many journals that my journals can be used and taken and then published. I kid you not. And so writing is a skill that transcends the boundaries of time, place, profession. And you can also start with, like I said, personal journaling. It is an invaluable tool for creativity and for growth. You keep getting better at it. Honestly, you do not have to have a story or to have experience for you to be a writer. So, this speech explores how writing functions as a lifelong skill, focusing on its power in personal and professional growth, its role in career building, its creative and therapeutic aspects. Sometimes when you are angry, or you are going through some emotions that are not really palatable, even positive ones, and you put a pen and to book and you start to write, you'll be amazed what comes out. Because you just write freely and flow, let it flow, just like that. Recently, I met a man who had written over 70 books in the space of 5 years. 70 books in the space of 5 years. But he will tell you, he says, no, I didn't start 5 years ago. I started 30 years before then. Why? He said, because those stories were in me and those narratives were in me. So how do I come out with them? And so when I started writing, I couldn't stop. That was what he said. I hope that's my story too. I pray it's my story too. I pray it's my story. Okay. I was talking about myself. All right. So the power of writing and personal, professional growth. I mentioned it. Then build a career with writing as a core skill. You can build a career with writing. Decide this workshop, what is my ultimate goal? Just write it down. You have to have goals. Just like you have goals for your personal development plan in life, you also have goals for your writing. Okay? If you do not have a clear path or a clear road ahead, any way becomes what? Any road becomes what? A road. Do you like that? No. I would not like that personally as well. And so you need to have clear goals. You need to start to, have those ideas. And when you create those goals, the people, the resources, and the ideas will do what? Will show up for you. That's how it is. They just have a way of showing up for you. And so it would look very coincidental, but something will happen. You find yourself in that community. And please don't forget the power of community. If you belong to a writing community, expand it. Before you know it, even your phone can tell your secrets. You click on YouTube, you see a writer. You click on Instagram, it's about writing. Has it ever happened to you before? Facebook, in call, about writing. Before you know it, your niche starts to change. Your phone starts to change your narrative. Passively, all you just know to do, what you have to do is what? To follow the cues. Okay? To follow the cues and listen to your inner voice. And never stop. Do not let the music inside of you die. Don't let it end. You keep writing. Good experiences, yes, they motivate. Bad experiences will teach those who have not experienced it never to. And also would relate. People who have experienced such will relate to it and think, oh, I am not the only one. I'm not the only one in this. And so these things happen that way. Okay? And so, I must say, finally, let's start with this community. Let's start with an African fiction. Who's read Stay With Me? Yeah, by who? Do you know her? Do you know her mother? Oh my goodness, she's a medical doctor, a consultant here in OHHC. Yes, because she didn't use the name Ayobami Famurewa. Adebayo was her dad's name. And her dad died while she was pretty young. So, and she adapted that name and she wrote that beautiful book, Stay With Me. Okay? So now you can relate. Exactly. Now, I've started that story here. So, we all have Maya Angelou, we have George Howell. He wrote political twists in two beautiful, popular books. Who can say the title? Animal Farm and 1984. Thank you. What about J.K. Rowling? Harry Potter series. You know, she wrote these things and she kept the manuscripts. The world would think I'm crazy or no, she kept it. That was not such a, she was poor. She was broke. So the intention was not to make money from the manuscripts. And so she finally moved this from one publishing house to the other and the other. They kept on what? They kept on declining and rejecting it. What kind of book is this? Until one particular publishing house picked it up and no, this is okay. Who put it out there? And they put it out there. They didn't imagine what came. And she has really changed the world of thrillers and that fantasy world, let's just say. And then the likes of all the other people started coming up behind her, after her. And so what am I trying to say? Don't let your thoughts, your limiting beliefs, limit you from achieving your goals. Don't let anybody discourage you from doing what you want to do. And don't even let your mind, your negative community in your heads. One little girl on Instagram would say, tell the negative communities in your head to what? Zip it. So tell those negative communities to zip it. Everything you have reading from these workshops you've been through in the past 1 week, from the 16th of November, I guess, right? Up till date. Oh, please imbibe and implement it. Someone like me, I just learn those things along the line. When writers come to the Spur Hub, when motivational speakers and people like that come to the Spur Hub, I just stay around, I just come in, sit down quietly and then take notes. That's my learning space. And by the way, the Spur Hub is used and is available for undergraduates free, FOC. You just have to tell us when your program will be, when you're speaking, you're coming with your community, what time, and how many people. Because our capacity is actually 15. Max, maybe 17, 18. It's a small space. We have a community that is kind of helping us. We are looking into building it and becoming a better place. That's my vision. A place where people can hang out with books around them. Come into the store, pick a book and read. The books that they say, okay, you can read. but some books are sealed. And sorry, we want to preserve it for those who buy those books. That's why they are sealed. We want them to have it untarnished, okay? So finally, let me just go to the final things. I have a question for us before I step out. How many of us from kids have had writing as our fantasy? How many? As from we were young, you had writing as your fantasy. Great, great. How many of us followed through? How many of us were encouraged? How many of us did our parents buy books for and said, this is for your writing? Great. How many of you have published? Hello? What? In journals. Is it published? Is it out there? Can I click on the internet and see it? Okay, fine. How many of you have published books? Books. How many of you us are authors? Pardon? Not yet. Okay. So I'm not the only one. I know I'm not the only one. So I'm not the only one. Okay, great. So I charge you all. Let's take it to the next level. Let's publish our books, e-books, on Amazon, whatever. Yes, I published something about my personal development training journey. We started in 2020. Okay, and then my coach said, I write well, but I never followed it up because that's just the voice of one person. And it's not a voice of a community in my head. So I am going to hold on to that voice and my own voice, and I just do what I have to do for the next half a century of my life. And I think writing will be my thing and my spin. Okay? So please, I encourage you all here today that you should keep this flame burning. And like the sheep that was burnt, the fleet that were burnt, let it be a burning desire for you. And so, again, I say writing is an invaluable skill that remains essential throughout life. Whether for personal growth, career advancement, creative expression, or societal change, writing provides a powerful means to connect, communicate, and transform. As a lifelong skill, writing fosters clarity of thought, nurtures emotional well-being, and creates opportunities for meaningful change. So, moreover, writing opens doors for career diversification, right? And growth. Freelancing, content creation, copywriting, blogging, and other writing-focused endeavors are increasingly viable paths for building a successful career in this modern, ever-revolving world. Thank you so much, everybody. Have a beautiful day.